You want me to leave it there? She should probably shut it down for your power.
All right, folks, we're going to get started. First, welcome to Galerie Myrtis. We know that you have a lot of things that you could do on a Sunday, but you decided to spend time here today, and we hope this is a special treat. The exhibit, Lest We Forget, is closing today, and typically we have an opening, we have an artist talk, and sometimes we have a tea, but today we're going to do something a little bit different. We have a closing ceremony today, and our facilitator will be Geoffrey Edwards. Jamia Edwards, her artwork is, where's Jamia's work? Here and in the back, and Jamia is part of our, our gallery artist. She's had work here and she's exhibited before. But her husband today is going to be the facilitator for this closing ceremony. I do not know what to expect today, but I have a feeling it's going to be very special. I've spent time with Geoffrey at his home, and he's a wonderful person, and I just can't wait to see what we're going to do here today. So I'm going to read a little bit about we have about Geoffrey. Geoffrey Edwards, his organization is called New Healing Arts, and according to what we have written about you, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The Healing Arts ceremony is being held to provide a space and opportunity for attendees of the Lest We Forget show and community at large to engage and reflect on the lives of influential figures, both distant and recent past, who have directly impacted current movements of social justice. It's an opportunity to remember, reclaim, rehumanize the fallen members of our collective community using nature, technology, and symbolism to construct a collective narrative of those who have lost due to unjust acts of violence. So today, Geoffrey is going to have a ceremony that's going to reflect upon what I just read in relation to this exhibition here today. And we're going to get started in a moment, but before I do get started, I'd like to acknowledge Jarvis is here, Du Bois is here. He's one of the curators for the show. It's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful show. We really appreciate all of your work, and the exhibition is beautiful. Of course, everyone knows Myrtis Madola, who's of Galerie Myrtis, and Geoffrey, Myrtis, Jarvis, Amber's here today. Artist is here today. So, without further ado, we're going to let you get started. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alex, for that wonderful introduction. So just to say a little bit about why we're gathered here. All right. First, under the premise that the arts are healing, all right, and also knowing that self-care is healing, all right, so when you put those two together, making art is a form of self-care, all right, and so there's going to be multiple components of what we'll engage in today, and hopefully there will be something that's transformative for you to take back to your community, or just some personal transformation that's helpful for you getting through your day-to-day, all right. So just a little bit about myself. The work that I do is at the intersection of holistic healthcare, urban gardening, and expressive arts. And so this is a great opportunity and great space and time to be able to show how those three can fuse together. And speaking a little bit about taking advantage of the opportune time, this being the season of autumn or fall. All right, and so when we think about autumn or fall time, what's going on in nature, all right? It's the time when, if you happen to live in the climate where we stay, where the leaves are falling off of the tree, is the time where everything dies back. So if you think of that being a process where the earth is literally going through a grieving process of letting go, all right? And so when we think about that and doing this type of ceremony or event, where we want to acknowledge those who have gone, before us, regardless of the reason that they have gone and become ancestors, but we're acknowledging those folks in this space at the time when the earth is literally grieving and letting go to move forward through winter and then prepare for the spring where new seeds will bring forth life. And so all of those components around nature you'll see incorporated today. All right. So, I actually want to start off with reading the listeners. Actually, when we think about Lest We Forget and what this show really means, all right? And again, looking at this opportune time to really acknowledge all those folks that we don't want to forget. So I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to read through a list of names. Most of the names actually are many of the people who are featured on Jamia's artwork. And then there's a few more names that I'm going to share to that list. But as part of my sharing these names, I want you to think about people, all right? Whether this is in the mainstream media, folks that you know that have gone, whether that was through, initially in the making of this, we were thinking about those who died unjustly in violence. But, with this being at this time of year, you just want to acknowledge folks who have been influential to social justice in general, but may have also just impacted your life, all right, who have gone before. And so with the opportunity, as I read through this list of names, I'm just going to allow an opportunity for a little bit of a little pause, and as you feel free to think of someone who comes to mind. This could be someone who's impacted you who passed 40 years ago. It could be someone in the last 5 years. It could be in the last 2 days. All right, something could we are going through this influx, especially with social media, all the different deaths and things that we're kind of bombarded with, and so we want to take advantage and acknowledge that. All right. And it's quite a lengthy list, so I'm actually going to read through some of them. And as I finish, I want you to just add to that any names that come to mind, and then we'll progress or move on to the next part of our time here. All right. Rondell Street, Trayvon Lee, Darius Kelly, Latrina Ashburn, Freddie Gray, Marcus Eli, Corin Gaines, Damon Muller, Christopher Collins, James Dankins, Tiffany Laurie, Laura Scuda, Sandra Bland, Philando Castillo, Alton Sterling,
Christina Higgins.
Rob Richmond.
Augie Page, Reese Ward,
Derek Parker.
Trayvon Martin.
Buster Leroy Brown. Jeff Hudson.
Muhammad Ali,
Deborah Coles.
Sean Bill,
Francis Chris Wilson.
Alfonso Herndon.
Little ones are free to speak to.
All right, so thank you for that. And so there's power in speaking people's names, and I wanted to create a type of experience where it becomes more than a hashtag. We have popular on Instagram and Facebook where these names become t-shirts and hashtags. And it's, in some cases, but not many opportunities that we have to come, a chance to come together collectively and speak these names with some type of meaning and purpose in a way of planting seeds that are going to be healing for us, but then also we have a chance to release, all right? And so with many of the names that I've spoken in and hearing of the people who have been brought into this space and your own speaking, there's narratives of stories that go along with that, all right? And many times we don't get the full story if you didn't know these individuals personally. Many times the newspapers can put out what they interpret it to be the situation, or it can come from 3 or for people removed from these actual, individuals that we know personally. And so I want this next part to be where we move into creating some type of container or receptacle that allow us to reclaim those narratives. And I'll share one thing that was deeply moving for me. I had the opportunity to sit in on the artist talk yesterday at the Katzen, which is Illusions of Grandeur Collective. We're speaking about the show there. And one of the other artists who was featured, Sheldon Scott, he mentioned something about in terms of our narratives, all right? And many times the question that was raised to the group was involving how their relationship to galleries and people who are collecting where this art, ends up going, all right? And one thing that really touched me deeply, it was speaking about how we don't own many of our own narratives, all right? Many times the narratives of our people, and he was specifically referencing the Jacob Lawrence collection, how, and pardon me, I'm a little naive in terms of the names and who has it, but basically we don't own our own narratives in that place. And that's just one example, but there's many examples specifically in regards to the arts where these narratives and our stories that have been told over, centuries are not in a place where we have the power to either show these pieces or do something with it that can directly impact the folks in which the art is a reflection of. And so this actual part of our time together really allows us to gather that narrative. So if there's any quotes that you know of the people that you may have mentioned or brought into this space today, if there's a saying, if there's a favorite song, that you know that this person may have said, or there's just something about their life or story that doesn't match, that you want to be known or that you want to sow a seed with, we're going to create some artwork together to allow that narrative to be something that will bring forth life. Does everyone follow me? Yeah, so it could be again, so in the United States when we say quotes, a quote that's more of the people who, were leaders and, where you get a quote, but it could be, this person always sang this song, or you had conversations with, this was their way, or you just want to write a personal few words, a sentences, or a letter to this person, you're going to have an opportunity to write that, all right? And so I'm going to show you something that I have here, right? And so, it's a cup, right? Plastic cup. You see words there. And basically what we're creating is a flower pot or an herb pot, right? And so, many times you see in art the juxtaposition of word and image. Right now we're doing a juxtaposition of word and seeds, all right? And so, with the words that you'll write down on these pieces of paper, you're basically going to construct a pot that is biodegradable that we're going to plant seeds into that you're going to take home, and it's going to be something that's healing for you. You choose, or we have a collection of herbs that you can choose from, and this will be something that you take away from this experience, all right? Cool. But I wanted to allow at least the next maybe 15 minutes, I'm thinking the most that it will take for you to be able to create and write down those words. And once we walk to the back, it's very simple. You write it, the strips of paper already cut, put it in a cup, fold it over. And this is a pot, all right? It's biodegradable, it's not, I wouldn't say organic, but it's something that you can actually put in the ground or just keep on your countertop if you don't have a yard. Like I say, what I do is a intersection of gardening. Folks who know me know that I'm in the soil every day. So that and the holistic health, and I want you to be able to have some type of seed, and those words is something that's very meaningful because your words are going and being planted with that seed. And so once we have that created, we'll finish out with an opportunity for you to kind of proceed down here, plant your seed, and then we'll have closing remarks and our time will be finished. All right.
Okay.
All right. So because I positioned the table in the back purposefully, and everyone will not be able to work on it at the same time, and so that's why I wanted to give us enough time where a few folks can come up, you have an opportunity to write. As those folks create it, just kind of create a process where you come back, or at least come to the side and allow the next few people to go. We can just put on some music again, just kind of create some type of flow with it, and you all just go up as you please. But I think there's enough space for at least 3 or 4 people to write. There's markers on the tables, and I'll come to the back to show you actually how you will make your container. All right.
Her aesthetic, her sound, all that's so different. Perfect. And the last one.
Whatever you have left.
I don't have any video. I do have a video now. But yeah, these were designers.
Yes.
All right, so, good, everyone has their, seed pot constructed. Hopefully you've been sitting down and, very orderly changing stories, etc. But there's no wrong way of doing it. I like how each one of your pots came out. Everyone, as part of this type of work, seeing everybody's process is a byproduct. I think benefit, seeing how, the detail that they put into it. But you have your pot, all right? And so how we're going to close out this last component is the actual seed sowing. So we're just going to, you don't have to do it right this second, but we're just going to move the chairs out to the side, all right? And the way it's set up is perfect that since the folks go right at the end first, one from each side will just alternate going to the table because that's where we need to gather our soil, all right? And then I want you to, it is not something that you're speaking out loud, but just take a mindful moment, a couple of breaths, and whether it's some of the words that you actually put onto your pot, or just a prayer or a thought that you want to put out to whoever it is that you are remembering or that you're acknowledging, just to kind of bring that into focus. And then you'll just walk up the middle. All right, we have 4 choices of herbs. We have sage, chamomile, thyme, and lemon balm. I left the actual packets out there so you'll get a chance to see the actual name, but it's up to you. You could try mixing a couple. That's cool. But for the sake of the smaller seeds, you can either pinch, or if you push down just with your fingertip down onto the smaller seeds and lift up, they'll stick there and you can just kind of rub them. All right, and then you'll just lightly cover it with the soil, and then just return to your seat.
Question.
Yes.
Can you share with us some of the properties of each
Right.
one?
All right, yeah.
Lemon balm.
Say it again with lemon
Lemon balm, I don't know. I was curious.
Lemon balm. It's a plant that's in the mint family. It's just a cooling herb. You see a lot of times that people will take lemon balm. Are you familiar with like lavenders and it's like at nighttime teas, lavenders, catnip. These are different types of herbs that folks will use, but lemon balm is a very calming, cooling herb. Thyme, which is definitely it's a culinary herb, but it also has like some antiseptic and antibacterial properties to it. But then you eat a lot of Caribbean cuisine or Jamaican food, they throw some rings of thyme, and so you'll have the opportunity to use these in your kitchen. Right? Chamomile, you all familiar with chamomile?
Yes.
A very calming, relaxing tea. And sage is one of the kind of whether people make sage bundles, like just to burn around the house, just for it's a good thing. Usually see sage used topically. People, and then in dishes, you don't see a lot of sage tea. Maybe you can. I don't like the flavor of it, but.
American Indian, I think you sage a lot to smudge the atmosphere.
Right.
Yeah, we have some at home.
Yeah. And so this sage you will be able to use for that purposefully. So again, the seeds that you have, they'll grow and for you to use, and hopefully it becomes something that you can go back and then research and find other uses for it, or contact me or ask me. I well grow thousands of herbs every day, so yeah. Okay, and I did want to say something about this tree here. This is the angel oak tree in Charleston, South Carolina. Have any of you been to or to see? It's a very special tree. It's what they think to be the oldest tree east of the Mississippi. Some folks date it at 500 years. Some folks go back and date it more than 1,000 years. So the records are a little bit challenging in terms of being able to determine the exact age. But at one point, it existed in the grounds, I think it's, I forget the island. Sullivan's Island, where there was a plantation at one point. And it's a tree with deep roots, no pun intended. It has a lot of history around auctions, lynchings, burials. It has a very ancestral presence. When you go to the grounds, where this tree is, when you go into the park in the space, it's like a calm and everything just drops on you. And it's a very powerful, and the fact that when you see this tree, you think that there's other trees growing around it, but it's literally, the branches of this tree are so long, they go down into the ground and then spring back up. And you think that it's another tree growing out of the ground, but it's just the branches from this one tree that are going and coming. It's an amazing thing to experience. And so I wanted to bring that type of the symbolism and the power of that tree to this space. And so that's what
And that's in Charleston?
Charleston, yes. Angel Oak.
I wish I
Angel
had
Oak.
known.
And they call it the Angel Oak, the story of Angel Oak, because in terms of, they say sightings of angels and ancestors around, because it has, literally for hundreds of years of, our history and our bondage and activity, both definitely the negative, but then a lot of positive people use this as a space. There are weddings, there's a lot of things that go on, and just the circle of life, and this is one of
I
our...
think it's even in Nat Turner's, the piece that, on Nat Turner.
Oh, really?
Birth of a Nation.
The Birth of a Nation.
Oh, really?
Yes, I saw it too.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, this tree has a lot of history, and so feel free to look up Angel Oak. It's me being a tree and plant person, I have always wanted. I got the opportunity to actually go there about a month ago. All right, so we can keep the music. Alice Coltrane over there. Alice playing, and so we'll again just go up to one person, start from the end of the row. You'll go up, and I'll assist you with. You can fill it about two-thirds, so not all the way to the lid, but I'm going to come up and assist you again. All right.
This is such a rich,
Don't eat it.
real dirt, I'm smelling it.
This is rich organic soil.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
So there's one, and then the next person can you come up and that's just that's perfect. Okay, so you can just
Okay, thanks.
all right, then you just walk around to the front here and just take a moment, pull the thoughts, just a couple of deep breaths and pull down, the thought of what you want to do, and then proceed forward to your seat.
I was getting ready to go up and ask you that.
Well, you notice the texture of the soil, I'm moistening everything, just so it's good. But I would say, when you get home, just sprinkle it. Don't hold it under the faucet or anything. We got like a little water bottle or something. Just trickle a little drops because your seeds are right there at the surface. But you want it to be cool to the touch, so that's when you know when to water. When you kind of put your thumb or like a finger down at that, if it feels cool, you know that there's moisture.
Okay.
There, and if it's starting to feel dry, and if it doesn't feel cool, that's when you know you need to water. Before you just wanted to keep it cool, and you'll start seeing some little seedlings start to pop up, depending on which seeds
Okay.
you use. At some point after they get an inch or so high, maybe you can thin out a little bit. The sage seeds are a little bit large, so you probably didn't put a lot of those, but for some of the seeds, like the lemon balm or the thyme, the chamomile, that's a popular one that's going. They're smaller seeds, and so they'll be pretty thick, so you just want to thin it out.
How do you thin them out?
Just, let's say if you got 10 little seedlings, pick 4 or 5 of them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we put this in a pot?
Absolutely, you can. You can, or you can wait until it sprouts
So get it
up,
outside,
and then
then
transfer
plant.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with the paper and all? Yes.
Paper and
Okay,
all.
ready on, yes.
Paper's gonna break down into, that's gonna become dirt. And it's non-toxic marker, so yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's real wonderful. Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Any comments?
I knew I had to get here.
Anybody want to say
I
anything?
got caught in traffic, but I knew I had to get here. Because I wanted to come for the opening, and I wanted to come from the artist talk, and each time something happened, and I said, I had to come today, and this is why I have come. And I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much for bringing a moment of peace and calm and quiet and space of meditation and prayer. With so much going on in the world and our own maybe personal lives, we need more of this. So thank you for offering to provide us with this experience this afternoon. It's really wonderful.
And we typically smoke our house. We have this routine. Myrtis and I, we do sometimes. We've had a lot of activity in the home. We love everybody coming, into our gallery space, into our home, but we have to have a reclamation in our home at least every 3 weeks if we've had people in the home. And Myrtis has special coals, and we have special incense, things that we just burn throughout the house. First, we clean it real good. And it's not to get rid of the energy. Most of the energy here is good, but this is our personal space. And we need to reclaim that. And we go through that all the time. We did it after the artist talk. This is probably the one time we don't have to do it. It is because of what you presented today. This is what we do on a regular basis, Myrtis will tell you. And so it was just wonderful. And to walk up and it's the seeds. The writing is great. I love all of that because I wrote some very special things that are important to me about Myrtis and her family, my family, and things about health. I want all my stuff on the inside with those seeds. So to walk up and see, Myrtis and I share tea every Sunday morning. We have very wonderful conversations every Sunday. If we have tea outside of that, Myrtis drinks tea all the time. If I'm preparing it outside of Sunday, I have to ask her what kind of tea she wants. Because it's important to know why she wants the tea. And a lot of times it's chamomile. So when I walk up and I see that, I say, okay, I have to have those seeds because Myrtis is inside my pot. And then to see the balm that's there, I've had family members who have been very ill, and it's been devastating to me. I had no idea how bad I felt about that. And to see the balm there, I didn't put all that stuff in there. So today it was really, really, really special to me today. So thank you so much.
Gio and I did a documentary some years ago about how art is a form of healing. And today today kind of puts things in perspective, and it actually brings back the feeling that I had when I was filming. And first of all, I appreciate Myrtis for opening up her space, beautiful space, and I appreciate everybody that's here. I really feel a positive energy, and I appreciate you, Jeff, for introducing me to the components of healing and art. Today, kind of, I know it's a closure for the exhibition, but it's also closure for me to see how it actually becomes one and in tune with myself. It's been a particularly hard year for me personally, and just take the time out to be still, be quiet, listen, not hear, but listen, feel, pay respects to those who've come before us and those who have left us far too soon, and everything that encompasses what's going on right now in this room is what makes this moment special for me. I'm making this real personal right now because I'm an artist on so many different levels, but sometimes art is just an expression of what's inside. Most times it is. But what's inside can always be expressed through words or even art sometimes. So what I'm saying to you is just a small conveyance of what's inside me. It goes a lot deeper, but thank you.
With them about their process, why picking a certain stone from a certain area is so significant and important to their spiritual process, and I believe it truly to be a spiritual process. Those who create within the tradition of Shona, and why the soil in which the stone is extracted from is so important to them, because they tend not to put their when people pass away, they don't put them in these these caskets like we do. So the body naturally deteriorates into the soil, and then and that helps to enrich the soil, of course. And so it's the process for them is, I wouldn't say far more spiritual. It's very spiritual, because I don't know what that comparison would be. But for them, it's a very spiritual process because they know that the remains of their ancestors are part of that soil. So in just touching the soil and how it feels and how it smells, I think we become so detached from the earth in terms of like the way we live and exist. There's this part of us that gets so removed because we bring into our living spaces things that are so sterile and disconnected. I mean, imitation this, imitation that, when it comes to like what we even put next to our bodies when we're sitting in a particular space, like metal chairs. So, that just brought back thoughts about that experience for me, one which Alex and I have lived, and then, it was very meaningful for us. So the soil is really, really significant to me.
Jarvis, it's the last day of your wonderful show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We would love to hear from you.
Thank you, Alex, for putting me on the spot. But just sitting here really thinking about, you mentioned earlier not knowing what to expect at all from this ceremony, but I knew it would be meaningful, and it was right on time. I knew it was needed, So I was very excited about when Jimmy came to me and proposed the ceremony. I think I called or emailed Myrtis immediately, like, we got to know. She has this idea of Jeff can do the ceremony, like, it's a great idea, let's do it. So I thought it was just a perfect fit for the overall theme and the impetus for the show, what I wanted to achieve. And unfortunately,
just very suddenly this year, same age, and it really threw me. And I'm still thinking I'm going to bump into him at the gym, or he'll call me at work like he always did. And so, just been reflecting on that lately, and yeah, just paying homage as we have this show to people who moved, gone on before us, or even ideas that we need to live by, or movements that have touched us all in different ways, different capacities. And think about those people in my own family and dear friends that I've lost, and how they touched my life, and not even realizing it maybe until they're gone, how much they affected my life. Because we would fuss and fight, my friend and I, but the loss hit me in such a profound way. It's not even know how to talk about it, really to anyone, but just feel it, be in it, and let it do its thing, And yeah, so I thank you for allowing us this moment to come together.